2,000 years ago, while 1,000,000 Romans were still fast asleep, one man was already awake in the dark, humming to himself and arguing quietly with a bowl. By the time the sun comes up, he will have fed 1,000 people who will never, ever know his name. And honestly, he wouldn't have it any other way. Come on, let me show you the best ordinary day in history. His name, let's say his name was Marcus. It's a good name for a baker. Solid, dependable, a little stubborn. He lives above his shop on the edge of the Subra, the loudest, poorest, most gloriously alive neighborhood in Rome. And every morning, 4 hours before sunrise, the same thing happens. No alarm, no clock, just 30 years of habit kicking him gently out of bed. Downstairs in the dark, something is waiting for him. Not a person, not an animal. It lives in a clay pot under a heavy lid, and it is, technically, alive. It's the leaven. A little blob of yesterday's dough, kept back and kept breathing. It is older than Marcus is. His father fed it. His grandfather fed it. He lifts the lid, peers in, and gives it a little nod. Good morning, the way you'd greet a very old, very temperamental relative. Because that's basically what it is. Then, the fire. The heart of the whole operation. A few coals saved from last night, a handful of kindling, one long, patient breath. And the room turns gold. This fire is sacred to him. Not in a temple way, in a, if this goes out, we don't eat way. It must never be rushed, and it must never, ever go out. He once let it die, as a boy. He does not talk about it. Now, here's something they don't tell you about Rome. Bread wasn't just food. Bread was politics. The emperors handed out free grain to the people, the famous bread and circuses, not out of kindness, but out of fear. Because a city with bread is a city that sleeps soundly, and a city without bread, that's a city that burns. So this ordinary man, grinding grain in the dark, is holding up the whole Roman Empire, and he doesn't even know it. And now, his favorite part. 4 things, only 4. Flour, water, salt, and the breathing leaven. He tips them into a wide clay basin and folds them together with his bare arms, and he talks the whole time. To the dough, to himself, to the gods, gesturing with floury hands as if the bread can be reasoned with. Then he kneads. Push, fold, turn. Push, fold, turn. And the strangest thing happens. The louder his hands work, the quieter his mind gets. No emperor, no rent, no noisy street, just 2 hands, warm living dough, and the crackle of the fire. It's the most peaceful few minutes of his entire day, and nobody will ever see it but us. Now, you'd think the hard part is done. It isn't, because next comes the one thing Marcus cannot control, and it humbles him every single morning. He has to wait. The dough has to rise, and rising cannot be rushed, not by a baker, not by an emperor, not by a god. So he sits in the doorway and watches the sky turn from black to gray to the softest gold. The first carts rumble past. A rooster, somewhere, gets the time wrong. A baby cries 2 floors up. Rome is beginning to dream about breakfast. The dough has doubled. It's soft and full of air, and he'd never admit this. He's a little proud of it. He shapes each loaf by hand, presses a cross into the top so it breaks into honest pieces, and then, on the best ones, he does something wonderful. He stamps his own name into the crust. Because a Roman baker signed his bread. Imagine that, putting your name on your work every single day for anyone to see. The man had confidence. And now, the moment that cannot be undone. He slides the pale loaves into the glowing mouth of the oven on a long wooden peel and seals it shut. Inside, in the dark and the heat, something quietly miraculous happens. Soft white dough turns gold, then amber, and sings. That faint crackle as the crust is born. He can't see any of it. After 30 years, he doesn't need to. He knows by the smell, by the time, by a feeling in his hands. And then Rome wakes up, properly. The shutters bang open and the street floods in. A household slave sent for the morning loaves, a yawning soldier off the night watch, a schoolboy who is definitely late, and old Livia, who has bought her bread at this window for 40 years and complains about the price every single time. Every single time. The shop fills with that one smell every human being who has ever lived knows in their bones. And for a few glorious hours, quiet Marcus is the most important man on his street. By midday, the bread is gone, and the fires burned low. The city pours off to its baths and its arguments. And Marcus stays behind, cleanses his basin, feeds the leaven a little flour so it'll live to see tomorrow, and rests in the warm, empty, flour-dusted quiet. Tomorrow he'll do every bit of it again. And here's the secret. He's happy about that. There's a deep, simple joy in a life that is genuinely needed. Now, here's where it gets extraordinary. Marcus left no monument, no statue, no book, no name in any history we can read. By every measure Rome cared about, senators, generals, emperors, he was nobody. And yet, in the ashes of Pompeii, archaeologists found his bread. Actual loaves, turned to black stone by the volcano, still round, still scored with that cross, still stamped with a baker's name. 81 of them, in one oven, the morning the world ended. Those loaves have outlived the Roman Empire itself. The emperors are dust. The baker's bread is in a museum. Tell me that isn't the best joke history ever told. We don't know what Marcus believed, or who he loved, or what he feared in the dark. But we know exactly how he spent his days. His hands, his fire, his ridiculous pride in a good loaf. And maybe that's the most honest kind of immortality there is. Not to be remembered for something grand, but to be remembered for doing one good, ordinary thing, beautifully, every single day.
Sit with us a while by the fire. Wherever you wander, keep the fire close. Come find us everywhere the stories live. Follow along, and we'll save you a place by the flames. A new legend every week.